I'm the neediest Muslim ever, and I'm there to be your friend if you don't have one, or your second or third friend if you already have others, and I hope you do. So today on the show, we're going to cover a lot of things, but I'll start out by saying this: 138. 138. What does that mean? That's how many days into the most important election of our life. 138 days until Judgment Day. Judgment Day for our nation, for our values, for the path forward for this country. I say stay angry every day because Donald Trump makes us stay angry, though. I don't have to remind people. And again today. Donald Trump today again showed us why he's not just the leader of the GOP. He's their grand wizard. I have to say this to my friends in the media. You need to understand this. Donald Trump doesn't defend white supremacy because he's trying to attract racists to his base. Donald Trump defends white supremacy because he is a racist. It's who he is. That's why he attracts white supremacists. They understand it rings true. It resonates with them. Today, a few reminders of that. You had, first of all, Facebook found out Donald Trump's campaign has put numerous ads out that use a little upside down red triangle. And it turns out, as Jewish groups and historians pointed out, this upside down red triangle was a symbol used, I'm not exaggerating, in Nazi concentration camps on political prisoners. And it was so obvious that Facebook, which usually does nothing to Trump, they took down over a dozen Trump ads that had this symbol saying, quote, they were using a banned hate group symbol. But number one. Number two, what else Trump did? Trump today took credit for everyone getting to know Juneteenth, because he wanted to have his rally on Juneteenth, which is coming up Friday, June 19th. Trump actually said, I did something good. I made Juneteenth very famous. Only a delusional white supremacist who's egotistical would think he made the day that commemorates the end of slavery from the 1800s famous in 2020, but that's Trump. And third, what did Donald Trump do in this trifecta of bigotry? He defended again today the Confederate statues. And he said, literally, and it's making press now, just came out a short time ago, not only did he call the statues history, which we know is code, white supremacists use that, he said they were symbols of healing. Healing. He said they were put up as symbols of healing. Do you know when the Confederate statues were put up, there were two big swaths in history. They were put up early in the 1900s. What was going on then? Well, all these statues were put up in former Confederate states, and they were up there as Jim Crow laws were taking more and more impact. And as there was a pushback against laws that were trying to help end Jim Crow. Then the second swath of Confederate statues, when were they put up? In the 50s and the 60s of the 1900s, not the 1800s, during the Civil Rights Movement. They were not put there to heal. Maybe they were to heal the white supremacists who felt bad that black people were getting equality or fighting for it. They were put up simply, very simply, and there's no debate about this. They were put up as a celebration of white supremacy. They were put up in Confederate states during Jim Crow to tell black people that these white generals, these white leaders who led a war to keep you as chattel slaves, we are going to honor and celebrate them. That's what it was about. There's no disputing. There's no game here. But Donald Trump literally today, the day before Juneteenth, the day before we recognize and celebrate the end of slavery, defended statutes that are symbols and celebrate those who fought and killed United States American military people in the name of defending slavery. So there's a big thing we'll cover on the show today. Another big Supreme Court decision today. This with DACA, another loss for Donald Trump. The second in the same week. The first case earlier in the week was remarkable. It was towards LGBTQ equality in our nation. And what Trump wanted, what Trump fought for in court, to be able to legally fire people simply because of their sexual orientation or their gender identity. Well, Donald Trump got handed another loss today on DACA, which he unilaterally ended. And I will say this very clearly. Every time Trump loses, America wins. That's right. Every time Trump loses, America wins. Because Trump represents the mindset of those who put up the Confederate statues, those who would demonize black and brown people and Muslims and want to discriminate against the LGBTQ community, who don't believe women should have equal pay for the same work. That's what Trumpism is about. It is that celebration. So we'll go through the case today, but I actually think there's something bigger at play. This is the second big Supreme Court decision in the week where Chief Justice Roberts, who was appointed by George Bush, sided with the liberals. And I could be overreading this, but I really think there's something bigger at play. Because no one can dispute this. Donald Trump, when he loses the election in November, will look for every reason, every way to stay in power. Even Trumpers know that. There's no disputing. If we beat him really big, because we come out big, it makes it harder. But the closer the election is, the more Donald Trump will try to stay in power. One is by using the military. But in the last week, the military made it very clear to Donald Trump, they're not on his side. General Mattis, former defense chief, came out against Trump. But more importantly, Donald Trump's current head of the Joint Chief of Staffs, Mark Miley, apologized for accompanying Trump for the photo op after Donald Trump gassed his own people to have a photo op. I think that was a really loud message. So all Trump now has, he's understanding, is the courts. And he was hoping with the conservatives controlling the Supreme Court that him and Bill Barr, and they will work together, will craft some argument the election was rigged, that the results are fraud, and that the 20th Amendment has to be suspended. And the 20th Amendment simply states that on January 20th of the year after the election of the president, at noon, the incumbent president's power will end. They evaporate, unless they, of course, won their election and they're sworn in again. Well, Trump will argue, and I can assure you this will happen if there's a close election, that the 20th Amendment has to be suspended till we have a new election, or that he be declared the winner because the fraud was so rampant. The only way to do that legally is through the courts. That's where Bill Barr comes involved. They go to the court. And obviously it goes to the Supreme Court. And if you doubt me that a Supreme Court of the United States will pick the loser to be the winner of an election, just look to 2000, Bush versus Gore. George Bush lost that election, the popular vote. He probably lost Florida. But hanging chads and all the games played there, including his own brother was governor, the Republican-controlled Supreme Court gave George Bush the presidency. I honestly think, and I could be overreading this, that Chief Justice John Roberts, who's tussled with Trump before personally, is sending a message to Trump. I'm not on your side. So don't count on me, because I'm going to side with the progressives, the liberal members of this court, and get rid of you after this election is over if you lose. And what reminds me of that, in 2018, Trump and Chief Justice Roberts got in a public spat where Trump called Democratic appointed judges Obama judges. And Chief Justice Roberts did something remarkable. He put out a statement. The Supreme Court Chief Justice put out a statement pushing back on the president, in which he said, and I'll read this line because it's so important. Because first he said there's no Bush or Clinton or Obama judges. He said the independent judiciary is something we should all be thankful for. The independent judiciary is something we should all be thankful for. And I honestly think that John Roberts is making a case that Donald Trump, come election day, when you lose, I'm not going to be your swing vote on your side. In fact, I'm going to be on the side of progressives to get rid of you. If he loses, if he wins, then there's no court case. And if he loses, America's over as we know it. In any event, folks, we're going to cover that a lot more. John Ossoff's going to join me. He just won the Democratic nomination for the U.S. Senate in Georgia in an ugly attempt by Brian Kemp and the Republicans there to suppress the vote. What happened? Democrats still came out and still voted in the biggest numbers ever in a primary in Georgia, showing we come out big. You can't stop us. We're coming out big. A blue wave is coming. Tsunami's coming, Donald Trump. And you and your Republican minions can't stop us. We've got a great show, though. Again, my show is live on SiriusXM channel 127. Progress, it's called. 127, 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Tonight, of course. And if you don't have SiriusXM, if you go to the website for SiriusXM, right on the front, there's things free trial. Check it out. Come listen to my show. It's free. Check it out. If you don't want to do that, go to facebook.com/Dean of Radio. I post clips from my show, or email me comments or questions, dean@deanofradio.com. Thanks for tuning into my little preview. Hope to have you listen to my show and actually be part of my show later today.